After doing extensive drafting all off season long, whether it's on Underdog, Sleeper, ESPN, you name the platform, there is one round in every single one of my drafts that I draft a wide receiver at an absolute value. You don't need a first round or second round pick necessarily to get any of these players. They may not perform like your first round pick, but they will guarantee to perform better than where you drafted them in terms of ADP. So let's talk about some of these wide receivers going in the 5th round that we need to be taking advantage of their ADP. Let's roll the intro. Briefly, I'm going to talk about each wide receiver specifically and talk about what makes them such a good draft pick. Then we're going to go on Sleeper and we're just going to draft. We're going to do a 12-man league, a 14-man league, and we're going to draft from different spots in the draft just to show examples of players that are available in both league formats in round 5. The first wide receiver in this range that absolutely sticks out to me is Jaylen Waddle because he's being drafted at his absolute floor here. I think Jaylen Waddle, yes, you have to rely on Tua to stay healthy the entire season, but can still provide or flirt with top 25 wide receiver numbers, but we're not drafting him anywhere close to that. Jaylen Waddle is just one of many here in this tier that are being drafted at their absolute floor. And the next wide receiver I want to talk about, someone I've already discussed in brief on this channel before, but that's Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens. And to make things very simple, yes, this is a run-first offense with not many passing attempts. They led the league in rushing last year, but he's still the number 1 target in this offense, and he's being drafted at wide receiver 31, where is exactly where he finished in his rookie season just 2 years ago. So being that his rookie season is his worst finish, wide receiver 31, if he's the 31st wide receiver off the board in your fantasy football drafts, you have to think you just got an absolute steal, no? A year 3 breakout from Zay Flowers maybe pushes you in an upper echelon category of your fantasy football leagues, but even if you don't get the best case scenario, the most realistic scenario is that he finishes in the top 25 or top 20, and it's a better pick than where you drafted him. The next wide receiver I like drafting in this range is George Pickens, who's a number 2 wide receiver now in an offense that throws way more than his last offense did. The Cowboys will also struggle to run the ball, unlike where George Pickens came from. The Pittsburgh Steelers thrived at running the football. This team should be trailing a lot, maybe having way more opportunities for George Pickens, and could finally actually give George Pickens that top 25 fantasy wide receiver season that we've been dreaming of since he's been a rookie. And speaking of rookies and wide receivers specifically, Ted McMillan is also going in this range, and while I'm not really a Ted McMillan truther, the idea of making a rookie wide receiver who's going to get probably 140 targets this year as your second or third wide receiver, that's pretty exciting. But if exciting and the potential of something greater than already presented in front of us doesn't entice you at all, Courtland Sutton is going in this range as well, and I think that's as safe as a wide receiver pick as you could possibly draft in fantasy. We know that Courtland Sutton is the number 1 wide receiver. We know Courtland Sutton is an excellent wide receiver in the red zone, so he's going to get his touchdowns. This is as safe as it gets, and you're getting a number 1 wide receiver in a range where you're picking from number 2s. Another number 1 wide receiver that I think is a dark horse to win you your fantasy leagues this year is Calvin Ridley of the Tennessee Titans. We don't really know what to expect from this offense, to be exact, so this is why it's a dark horse pick, and we don't really know what we're getting out of Calvin Ridley, but we know Calvin Ridley is a stud. We know Calvin Ridley is getting a significant upgrade to the quarterback position compared to 2024, where he put together a pretty solid campaign last year. Now we're drafting him in the 5th, maybe 6th round, and it's just an absolute value to me. And I think if you're sitting somewhere in round 5 and these other wide receivers have been taking off the board already, we should be drafting this guy because we can get positional needs like a running back, tight end, or quarterback later in the draft. And before we go over to mock draft, one more wide receiver that I wanted to talk about is Rome Odunze, who did show flashes last year of dominating at the NFL level, but never really put it together for a full 17 games, whether that was because of the coaching situation, the team itself, or just the fact that it was a crowded wide receiver room last year. 2025 and a new coaching change gives Rome Odunze the opportunity to finish as a top 25 wide receiver. I like the team, the opportunity, and the quarterback play in this scenario. scenario. So I think Rome Odunze in round 5 is another one of these excellent you must draft wide receivers here. Now I'm going to mock draft on different formats on Sleeper. You tell me, comment down below, who is your favorite wide receiver going in this round 5, round 6 range? And if you could get somebody better than one of these guys that I'm mentioning on draft day, that's actually a great thing because that means you're going to get an even better player than somebody I mentioned. And here we are now on Sleeper. I know you can't see all the teams on the screen right now. This is a 12-man league. I'm going to be drafting from the 110. So let's start out and let's focus on who we're going to draft here in round 5. I'm going to start by grabbing best available here, whatever that may be. Hopefully, and it is Malik Neighbors. That's great. We get a wide receiver. I'm going to take a running back with my second pick just to know that we guaranteed both of those spots for sure. Christian McCaffrey isn't really a sure thing, so I'm just going to go Brock Bowers just to make things a little interesting. We're still going to go get a wide receiver at round 5. I just didn't love taking a Christian McCaffrey. In case he gets injured, you never know. Brock Bowers is way more reliable in terms of durability. Now I could take a running back or wide receiver here, and I like James Cook and Breece Hall. I will go Breece Hall. I've taken a lot of James Cook. And now here I have quarterback. I can go wide receiver, and I can go tight end, which I already have. So I would probably consider going Alvin Kamara here. But for the sake of stacking wide receivers for this video, let's go Devontae Adams. And we will get a running back in round 6 after we take our wide receiver of choice in round 5. We'll make sure we get a quarterback so we can see the stack and you guys can just figure out, is this something that works for you guys? Is this a strategy that works or not? I really like the idea of taking anyone between George Pickens, Ted McMillan, or Jaylen Waddle. And for the sake of lowest ADP, I'm just going to take Jaylen Waddle, knowing that I'm going to get Isaiah Pacheco on the way back for sure. And there he is right there. So I get Isaiah Pacheco, but look at all of these wide receivers in round 5 that are just values. Yes, there are some good running backs here left, but if you're not going to get Joe Mixon or James Conner, that fall off is crazy versus Zay Flowers, Courtland Sutton, Jamison Williams, Jaylen Waddle, Ted McMillan. That's a much better value. And now I can take a quarterback here. I don't love Bo Nix, but we do think that Calvin Ridley is a value at round 5 and 6. So I'm going to have to take him here for that reason alone. And then when it comes back to me, I'll grab, never mind, I can't grab Bo Nix. Kyler Murray is the best available quarterback. So instead of reaching for him, I'm going to take some running back help, and I'm going to take Travis Etienne. Now let's shift our focus to the next draft, the 14-man league draft. I'm picking here from the 106. This is 14 teams, 2 running backs, 2 flex, 2 wide receiver. Let's get the show on the road. We're gonna take a wide receiver in round 5. There's gonna be a lot less options for us this time around because there's more teams, there's more draft picks to make. But Bijan Robinson here is a steal. Let's just get that out of the way. I would like to double up on running back and then take wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, and see if we like that combination. But let's see what lands here in round 2, because if there's a elite wide receiver, we have to take them. I would like to see if Garrett Wilson and Terry McLaurin come back to us. So I'm going to select Jonathan Taylor. I don't love that pick, but had to go get me a running back. We're going to try to hit wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, one after the other. Garrett Wilson is my first receiver. That's perfect. I was going to take quarterback, but glad I didn't. Now when it comes back to me here, round 4, somebody that we would have considered as a round 5 guy, but considering there's a lot more picks now than there were last round, we're just going to take Courtland Sutton because we need that wide receiver help. And when it comes back to us, there's still going to be wide receivers for us to take in round 5, which is crazy. I love Isaiah Pacheco, but here again, we're getting Jaylen Waddle as our 3rd receiver. That's just crazy. I feel like I can't stop drafting that value there. We have 2 running backs that are absolute workhorses. We have 3 receivers that are extremely good. This is just a great start to the draft. And I could get DeAndre Swift here, who is another running back I love. And now we can start peppering quarterback, tight end, those positions. Unfortunately, Jared Goff is best available quarterback. I'm going to take Evan Ingram in his new offense and hopefully get something else on the way back. Herbert as my quarterback would be lovely, and that's who we get. So Justin Herbert's at quarterback. Here we are, round 5. We were able to get another wide receiver that we absolutely love. But look at the value here in round 5. Jameson Williams, George Pickens, Ted McMillan, Chris Olave, Jaylen Waddle. Jordan Addison's still a good value, but this is just a great spot to be picking from. And that's going to wrap it up for this video today. So round 5 is our favorite round to draft a wide receiver. If you know that, now you're going to go into your fantasy football leagues with an upper hand on your league mates. Why? Because you watch Outlier Fantasy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, you like fantasy football content, make sure you smash that like button for your boy. And if you're new here and you don't want to miss out on any of the videos, make sure you subscribe down below. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. And that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.